right. Well, welcome, everyone. Welcome to our second Verbum Session here at Onedome. So glad you're all here. Thank you to Jef Stott for warming us up with some nice grooves there. So I'm Michael Gosney, and glad to be in your presence here. So cool to get together in this wonderful space. And just to give you a little prelude, we're going to hear from our marvelous presenters here for the next hour, and then we'll have a half-hour Q&A and discussion at 9 o'clock. And by the way, after our engaging interactions here for the next hour and a half, we'll want to move around a little bit, so we will clear the chairs, and Jef will take things a little more up-tempo. So before we jump in, I want to just take a second and thank my good friend Chris Decker here at the back of the room, and Becca Dakini, who could not be here tonight. And they're two of the founders of this amazing enterprise, Onedome, and it was at Chris's invitation that we kicked off this series of events, and the first one was in December. With all the talent and vision that came together in this place, it wouldn't have happened without a rock star CEO, and I'd like to introduce Bertram Meyer to tell you a little bit about Onedome.
Well, it's my great honor and pleasure to welcome you to Onedome. Who is here for the first time? So pretty much the slight majority might wonder what Onedome is, and it's our little experiment to create a sacred space in mid-market San Francisco where lots of artists come together to co-create immersive experiences that are there for people to collaborate, to enjoy together, to use technology to actually connect with the present moment as opposed to some future, past, or not present time. And also to deepen the cultural conversation, especially the Unreal Garden is designed to do that. It is one of our 2 ticketed experiences, a somewhat psychedelic augmented reality experience that takes you on one version of a mushroom journey without imbibing a mushroom through pure technology. Another experience is downstairs, Liminal. It's a labyrinth of 14 interconnected rooms from equally as many artists, mainly responding interactively to your user-generated input, so feel free to go downstairs and play. And the last point I want to make is just to say that it's our great pleasure to use the space to be a community hub and a hub for the most important conversations of our time to be had, both with regards to conscious evolution, collaboration, sustainability, climate change, of course, and what we can do as stewards of this planet to further our existence for each other and for all species in the sacredness of all life. So thank you, Michael, for bringing the discussions here, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Bertram. So before we start, I'll just give a little introduction, a little context here. The idea with this event series is to take on themes that are relevant to our technology culture here in San Francisco. And the kind of themes are resonant with those that we explored back in the late 80s and early 90s in the early wave of the digital media revolution here in San Francisco. And that was when I had the pleasure of publishing a magazine that kind of became a magnet for both the creative people involved in the industry on the art side and the music and the video, and then the amazing technology visionaries and programmers who really created all the new tools and standards and file formats that set the stage for the web. It was a very vital period back then. And, it seemed like anything was possible. We saw that we were going to be able to have a great impact on the world. And, of course, we were all very idealistic back then. And as we've all seen in the ensuing decades now, it's in some ways exceeded our expectations as to how technology has transformed and connected the planet. It's also been very disappointing to see the way things have gone. But now that, finally we're getting more public awareness of not only climate change, but other major social issues that need to be addressed. And there is a public critique of the technology industry going on right now. So we're at a very critical juncture point. And I think it's very important to get a cross-disciplinary exchange going, something that the technology community needs to embrace more, getting more input from society across all different areas and addressing all different kinds of issues. So with this series of monthly events, we want to make our small contribution to that, hopefully expanding dialogue on solutions and revolutionary change. Our first session, just to fill you in on that, was themed Earth Consciousness, and there we explored what Earth Consciousness means both in terms of biospheric science and our relationship to the planetary system, but also looking at Earth Consciousness as the planet itself and how it speaks to us through plant teachers and other agents of the natural world. That was a really wonderful session. And we are shooting videos of these, and we'll have them online, so we'll hopefully be able to share them more widely. So tonight our theme is Regeneration Generation, and it can be interpreted in many ways, but I think the bottom line is whatever age we are, whatever generation we find ourselves in, this is the generation of change. It's the time for us to really take charge. And what's the good news is, finally, the word is out in the mainstream media about the true global warming situation and the growing impacts of climate change. And there's a new consensus emerging, from all quarters that we need to do something, So most of us in the room are familiar with people that are already doing something, and we're going to shed a light on some wonderful projects and initiatives that our speakers are addressing. But I think it's important also to realize that what we're going to discuss tonight and these various solutions are just a fractal of the larger environment, the larger network of new models, new projects, new ways of doing things that are emerging. But without some new radical breakthroughs, the kind of unprecedented massive scaling of these solutions and worldwide adoption and coordination and collaboration across disciplines, across sectors, that's wholly unprecedented. That's what lies ahead. That's the only way in this short time frame of a couple of decades that we can really make a global change. So, and this is what we're asking the technology community. How can we further empower and magnify and expand these kinds of ideas and initiatives? So tonight we're going to experience some seeds of hopefully what will become from seeds to mighty oaks.